Let's head down for the first semifinal. Hello and welcome back to coverage here of the semifinals at GP Indianapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Kenji Higashira. Well, we've got one of our elite teams sitting here in the top four. That's Paulo Vitor, Damo, Rosa, Eric Froehlich, and Ben Stark. Easily the most experienced and accomplished team left in the field, and it's not remotely close. In fact, I would venture to say easily that they are the most accomplished team in the field, period.
Yeah.
Way more than Peach Garden Oath, which is saying a lot. On the other side of the table, Shahar Shenhar, Lance Austin, and Oliver Chu. Now, we're going to start things off. Looks like our middle table here, Eric Froehlich and Lance Austin are the first to go.
And remember, every player from the OGP is on the play first. They won the die roll. They were first seed, basically. Well, other way around. They were first seed, so they were on the die roll, basically. And we'll see how that Goblin Trailblazer, or just, being on the play in general, is going to push them to the advantage. Now, Lance did have that one drop there, so if he has a two drop, he can already block Eric's two drop, but he did not. Oh, yeah, and we're getting aggro, Marshall.
What do we got?
Look at that. Goblin Trailblazer into Stormfleet Sprinter.
Want to go for a run? How about Unblockable and Menace Creatures crunching into the red zone, really capitalizing on that first seed and winning the die roll automatically. And this is a little bit of desperation here for Lance Austin.
Yeah, 4 damage on turn 3. You can't block it.
Yeah, what's going on with the die there?
I think that was just to signify the aggressive urge for that end of turn.
Yeah, that's haven't seen that one before, but there goes Eric was like, no.
It's until end of turn. It's not a 1-1 counter.
No. But Lance, he just needed to cycle that aggressive urge, really looking for something quickly because he has fallen quite behind. And there it is. Luminous Bonds. Nice one here for Lance. That is going to stem the bleeding. It gives him a chance to find an additional creature and have a way to block.
Sure, but
Trailblazer.
Again, Eric still gets in for 2 and gets to develop it as board. He gets to bounce.
Storm Sculptor's going to pick it up, and we're going to be sprinting next turn. Eric helping out Lance there with finding the graveyard.
It's not just in the either.
No, Snubboard Sentry looks reprehensible.
Yeah, it's
horrendous. What word would you use, Kenji?
Unplayable.
So I can tell you that our table one, Paulo Vitor, Damo, Rosa, and Shahar Shenhar have just gotten underway. Paulo mulligan down to 5 cards. I think we're going to stay here for another couple of turns because this one could be over quickly, and then we'll jump over there.
It's going to end in a couple turns anyway, so this is 5 damage unblockable on turn 5. Eric went 2-drop effectively unblockable for now. Anyways.
Short-term unblockable.
Yeah. 3-drop unblockable.
Long-term unblockable.
4-drop unblockable.
Also
Bounce my unblockable that was, Luminous Bonded. And look at Lance's life total.
He's at 9.
And he hasn't dealt anything to Eric. He can't attack with his Exultant Sky Marcher unless he has another follow-up play, because then this Trailblazer can get back in because of the Menace.
This is not looking good for Lance Austin.
No.
Also, any tempo play, any type of bounce spell can be so devastating.
Right. Exactly. He did play a Mountain here, which, it's not too uncommon to see multiple colors in Team Draft, but imagine if Lance had been on the play instead.
Oh, yeah.
That swings things huge.
Oh, yeah. He would be at a much higher life total. Things would look much better. But no, that is not the case. He's going to have to fire off Unfriendly Fire. That's going to take down the biggest threat on the other side, the Storm Sculptor. And it does mean, since he didn't attack with the Exultant Sky Marcher, that Eric is only getting in for 2, but 2 of 9. He's down to 7.
Not to mention he can still develop out other creatures.
Sure, here's a Shipwreck Looter. Not particularly good.
Speaking of not, I think he just drew a Water Knot for the turn.
Wow, and there's your boy.
Frilled Death Spitter.
Frilled Death Spitter. I know you like that one, but it's just tick-tock here, right? Each of these creatures, especially the ones with Evasion or the ones with Enrage here, are just getting worse and worse and worse for Lance Austin.
And that's the thing about the Menace creatures. They're good super early, and then when your opponent does stabilize, you can just keep on developing out your board, and now Lance is in a position where he's going to have to block like the Shipwreck Looter and the Frilled Death Spitter, but that means the Menace creature gets to get in afterwards.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm in a very precarious situation when I get in this spot because of the Menace creatures. I can't start attacking.
Correct.
It's like, at what point do I get to do something, right? And of course, I mentioned it a minute ago, but Crashing Tide, any number of bounce spells just throws that balance just far enough off that they just go attack with everything. And End up dying.
Generally good enough. All right, we'll see what Lance can muster here as he just passes the turn with 6 mana and 3 different colors. Eric, I'm sure, undeterred. And of course, this could be a Divine Verdict or something like that, but at the very least, the Frilled Deathspitter can also attack in. Nice Snubhorn.
It has not performed well this game, to say the least. And look at this. This is what you just mentioned, Kenji. He's going to trade off, take 2 anyway, take another 2, and look at that Goblin Trailblazer.
Yep.
He's like, hey, I'm ready to go in.
Back online.
Crazy.
Well, Bonded Horncrest seems pretty good with unblockable creatures.
And that is going to do it. Lance Austin scoops up his cards to the Hall of Famer Eric Froehlich. He picks up the first game win of our round here. And that means we get to go check in on Paulo Vitor, Damo, Rosa, and Shenhar. And I will remind you, Paulo's on 5 here.
Oh, yeah.
He had a mulligan down to 5, so he is going to face a tall order no matter what, although this does help a little bit.
Remember that Charging Monstersaur he first picked?
Oh, there it is. On the battlefield, the awkward splashes are everywhere here in Team Draft, and somehow Shenhar has 7 cards in hand.
Holy moly.
7-1.
He's got 3 different colors going on here.
No board state, though. How is he going to deal with his Charging Monstersaur? Those colors do not do a good job.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. He's going to need to play multiple creatures. Like, even a Crashing Tide is just so bad versus it.
Waterknot?
The best, yeah, I was just going to say, the best card is probably Waterknot, but then he's still facing down a 2/2 Menace, you know, while he doesn't have any creatures on the board. The saddest Jadecraft artisan ever. And with 1 green, it's just not too much that Shenhar can have.
There's nothing.
Yeah, I see a Windstrider in his hand. I think a 1 with the wind behind that, but
I guess the treasure opens up a lot of doors, but he's chumping.
yeah.
Oh, another Interloper. And look at this. Paulo kind of doing it now. He should probably just keep that. He'll have additional mana even after casting it.
Yep.
He can cast basically everything in his deck anyway.
I think at this point he just wants any creature and one that cycles. You
Yeah.
know, draws another card in
Extra
addition.
good.
Yep. You said Paulo Mulligan to 5 this game?
He did.
Okay.
I mean, look at Shenhar's hand. He still has 7 cards.
And you're looking at his graveyard here. He has Hunt the Weak,
Wow.
Run Aground, and some other random cards as well. But just Shenhar's deck a little bit too slow. We know he's glutted on 3s and 4s, and Paulo was able to find one of the best
Holy
uncommons in the format.
smokes. If it wasn't for Oliver, too, it would have been a sweep. But Oliver did win his game down on the first table. We're in Shuffle Cam here. But Paulo Vitor steals a game off of a mulligan to 5. That does not happen often. Apparently, Shenhar just unable to deploy his threats. Another way to put it is Charging Monstersaur.
Yeah. In his vampire deck, by the way.
That is true.
It's kind of funny. Radiant Destiny would have been naming pirates there, I think, because he had 2 Dire Fleet Interlopers.
That's right.
What happened to all those Legion Conquistadors?
That's right. I don't think he was planning on naming pirate that often, but there you go.
Yeah, these guys just running a clinic.
Oliver apparently torched Ben Stark there because that was pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah, we might have a quick semis here. Depending if Eric and PV can win another, or maybe Ben wins the next 2.
Yeah. Well, you certainly wouldn't put it past Ben Stark to do that.
And see if Ben gets some advice for about a mulligan again.
So players are just getting set up here. Once one of them's underway, we will be down and ready to go. We are on Sunday Night Magic here from Indianapolis. Thank you so much for joining us. Live coverage here of the Team Limited GP.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Oh, there you go. We are in the semifinal. This is the first one. You can get a little glimpse on the left-hand side of the other one. We are going to be bringing you that. We're recording it right now, and we will be playing it back for you right after. Thank you, Judge. And again, if you don't want to get any spoilers on that and you follow any of the players who are in that other semifinal, maybe just stay off of Twitter for the next little bit so you can see it live with us, or almost live with us. By the way, that's Ben White's Neil Oliver and Eric Severson over there, the off-camera. Peter Ye, Ziru Zhou, and Jinyu Fei are the ones that are on camera there. I did get a chance to bump into them. Of course, we'll talk about them more when we watch their match, but that's their first time team drafting.
Nice.
If you say so.
Well, to be at a team draft situation in this event just means you've done very well.
That's true. That is true. And now the teams are examining opening hands again and saying, all right, which one is that? Ben does not look super impressed. And yeah, he told him nope. And it looks like we're underway here on table C. Maybe get a chance to look at what Ben Stark and Oliver 2 have brought to the table.
I hope Ben Stark drafted blue-white again. Darn. 3 blue-white decks on the day.
Blue-white boggles the whole weekend. Maria was hoping for the same thing. But Ben has disappointed and just brought a Merfolk Branchwalker in what looks to be at least green-white, although could be more colors. You never know.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, he didn't get the counter off of the Explorer, but New Horizons will give him one.
Sure. It's a good way to splash any potential cards that you might have picked up in a different color as well. Oliver on black-white, presumably vampires, of course. But we've seen crazier things than black-white non-vampires this weekend. A Ruthless Knave. How about a pirate? Just a straight-up trade with that Branchwalker.
By the way, in classic Ben Stark fashion, he threw a wrecking ball into this draft. I'm sure he scooped up a bunch of the rares, but his deck itself is pretty medium. It's a pretty fair deck, I would say. It's main green-white. I don't think he's actually even splashing for anything. Yeah, I don't see any splashes offhand here. So just green-white, but he did have to go kind of deep. He's got 4 Sun-Crested Pterodon in this deck.
That's actually really good with the Temple Altasaur he just played.
I know, he has 4 of them. He's also main decking a Plummet.
Okay.
And that is something that you'll see a lot more often in team draft for 2 reasons. One of them, you got a little short on playables. But the other one is that you have a lot more information about who you pass to, who you're playing against, and you can bring in narrow cards that are good in a specific matchup if you anticipate that that's the matchup that you're going to be facing.
Oh, the dinos have arrived.
Hello, friends.
You know what's really good with a 4-2?
What?
Temple Outstore. 4-2 dinosaur, anyways.
It is. Yeah, it's a little less good with the Raptor Companion. but the Temple Altasaur really is going to be kind of annoying here for Oliver, at least as far as combat goes.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Yep.
Oliver's going to be forced to put 2 creatures in front of the frilled.
All right,
okay,
well, he's going to do it the good old-fashioned way here and just play Baffling End. And he's got a Voracious Vampire as the follow-up. He's going to target Exultant Skymarcher. That's going to get him in for 3 damage in the air. So a productive turn for Oliver, but Ben Stark has a higher curve, and with 5 mana available, he can just start slamming 5-drops. Now, admittedly, again, 4 Sun-Crested Pterodon, it's not the type of thing that just dominates the board, but it will make life difficult for Oliver. And look at this. A race ensues. Here's
like
6 mana, and there it is. Colossal Dreadmaw, the big boy here from Ben Stark. And that is the kind of card that demands an answer quickly or ends the game. And traditionally, vampires, creature-wise, don't have great answers for a card that big. Now, they have a lot of answers as far as removal goes. And I'm sure that Ben Stark will be thinking about Divine Verdict here.
Exactly.
In fact, I actually just heard him say it.
Oh, or maybe Settle, he said.
Yeah, he said Settle. And this is what he's doing is Ben is actually consulting with Eric Froehlich in real time.
Yep.
And they're just reminding each other, what did you pass to Oliver? I mean, he was sitting right next to one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is exactly the case you were talking about prior to the matches starting, you know. In fact, I think you were talking about Divine Verdict as well.
I was. And this is really interesting because did you hear what Ben just said?
What was that?
It said, Do we know if Oliver first picked a rare in pack 1?
Ah.
Now, the information being whoever Oliver passed to will have examined the pack, and if they see that the rare's the only thing missing, it makes it incrementally more likely that he could have a card like Settle the Wreckage.
Exactly.
And now Ben's just trying to remember if a pack has a transform card in it, a double face card, can it also have a regular rare, or does it also have a regular rare?
All the packs were completely messed up. They gave us packs that were not real.
And now Eric is being Eric and kind of windmilling Ben. But he will give him the answer somewhere in that
in that range, yeah.
He will have gotten his answer out of it. So the question is, does Ben play around it? And we're going to find out.
He's pretty safe to if he really wanted to. I mean, he's got a big board position here.
All right, it was just Divine Verdict,
sure.
but that was one that I think Ben knew about. It was more like Settle the Wreckage. Do I want to get 2 for 1? Because the truth is that if you've got Divine Verdict on the other side, there's nothing Ben's going to do about it anyway, so he may as well just jam.
You know, Altasaur now is a 4/5. That's just bigger than every single vampire I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger than Vona, bigger than Champion of Dusk.
Well, here's a 5-drop now from Oliver. Well, not bad, but can he win this race?
No.
It's Anointed Deacon there. He's going to cranch in for 4. That's going to put Ben down to 11. It doesn't feel like he wins this race, though, does it?
No, but this is smart of Oliver because he's not dead on this attack. He can just take the hit and hope to draw something.
Oh, boy, there it is. Suncrested Pterodon number 1 for Ben Stark. Again, he's playing a full 4 copies of that thing. Not a great card, but it does some work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Steadfast Armors are great with the Temple Altasaur.
Also, Ben does have the City's Blessing now.
Does he?
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't have an Ascend card.
No, I was thinking that the Sun-Crested Pterodon triggered off of the Blessing, but it's controlling another dinosaur. So it will, in fact, have Vigilance right now, because, in fact, he controls 2 other dinosaurs. So the way I run the math is that it actually has double Vigilance.
I see.
Yeah.
How does that work?
You'll see when he attacks. It definitely won't tap. I'm a judge, so you can trust me. I'm actually not a judge.
Not even accidental tapping. I see. Okay. I get you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not where Oliver 2 wants to be. He plays a Deadeye Tormentor with no raid and really not a whole lot going on. Ben's just going to survey the scene, make sure that the way is clear, but things looking very good for Ben Stark to pick up game number 2, and if he does so, that'll be 1 game apiece for him and his teammates, with only Oliver having taken a game on the other side.
But they're going to go to a game 3, as this is effectively a double chump here where the 2 flyers are going to bounce off of each other.
And that's going to do it. Ben Stark's going to scoop him up after having won his game number 2. And yikes, this one could be over very quickly. You said that a second ago, Kenji. You weren't kidding around. We've only got 1 game apiece on the left. And look at this. Whoa! Eric Froehlich looks like he's in good position against Lance Austin.
Oh, but Lance still getting on the offensive here. I like it. Yeah, Eric appears to have a bunch of unblockable creatures. You see the Stormfleet Sprinter with the Luminous Bonds on it. He has a Slippery Scoundrel with, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's 1. Oh, no, he has the extra land there as well. So that has the City's Blessing, it looks like. He has a Mistcloaked Herald.
Yeah, kind of a mishmash of creatures.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Lightning Recruits, the easy block on the Bellowing Aegisaur, it just soaks that up. And the best thing that Lance can do is trade off the Snubhorn for the Swaggering Corsair.
Yeah, and when all of your opponent's creatures are unblockable, I mean, you have to force the race issue.
Yeah, we need to get that Snubhorn into the act. There you go. Uh-oh, Eric's tapping pretty quickly here. What does he have? Swashbuckling.
Ooh. How's that on a hexproof creature and unblockable? That's 5 damage. Yowza.
Does Eric have the City's Blessing? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he had it last turn, I think.
Uh-huh. Sometimes they've been putting that token on the battlefield, but occasionally they'll just call it out. But as you can see, we've got a little marker there right next to their life totals that show you that they've got the City's Blessing. In fact, both of them do.
So Lance is out here at this position, is making a large attack and hoping that Eric messes up. Lance is dead multiple ways. The hexproof unblockable 4/4 Scoundrel. Eric can also just ping multiple times should he have another pirate, or double ping. Here, 1 at the end of the turn, plus 1 on his turn, and then the 1/1 Mistcloaked Herald would also finish the job out. So Can't have a life gain method anymore unless it's Moment of Triumph. And Eric just doing his due diligence here, making sure he doesn't die on some random Pride of Conquerors effect.
Sure. Yeah, you got to order the blockers there. It's not relevant in this case, but you should do it every single time just in case it becomes that way. So what did Eric take there? 5? 4?
I think 5, right? The encampment keeper also
the keeper
got
also,
in. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Lance still 1 away from being able to activate it, but right now he's at 2 going to 1.
I mean, Eric might not even need to attack.
Yeah, if you can just cast a single
Pirate.
Pirate.
Yep.
Yeah, trigger on the stack, tap it again, and that's going to do it. Eric Froehlich takes down his match 2-0 over Lance Austin. And he looks over to the left, and he looks over to the right, and he says, gentlemen, 1 game, please, from one of you. I don't care which one. And this team, they will find themselves in the finals. Okay, so this is Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa, who stunningly took a game off of a mulligan to 5 from Shenhar. Hard enough to beat Shenhar at full power, but he beat him after a mulligan to 5. And there it is again, Kenji, that charging monster sword for Paulo.
You know what? We have a board stall here as
Nezahal's keeping the fort.
Shenhar has a Nezahal and a Spire Winder with the City's Blessing, which holds off that Shining Aerosaur. Oh, but a Hunt the Week is the perfect answer here. Now, I don't think Shenhar can quite start attacking unless he has another follow-up play, as he doesn't have enough creatures.
No, but he's got plenty of action in hand, and that Nezahal's a major problem for Paulo. How is he going to get around that thing?
Oh, you know what?
The activated ability on Nezahal makes it so difficult to permanently get rid of it. You really have to find an opening.
Wow, Shahar's hand is stacked. He has Windstrider, Regisaur Alpha.
What?
Looks like he just drew another Hardy Veteran. It's basically mono spells as far as the eye can see.
It is. You're right. There's no lands. The thing is, he's using those unstable lands. They really stand out in the hand to know if he's got one, since they don't have a border on them, and he's just got 5 spells in hand, and this is just going to get disgusting. The question is, when can Shenhar actually start going on the offensive? It looks like right now.
It's so awkward. The Dinosaur Hunter is the perfect answer to Nezahal.
It really is. That said, Nezahal's still doing very good work.
Right.
Dissuading the charging monster sword from attacking, right?
It is the best blocker here for sure.
Also, Shenhar does have Ye Old City's Blessing. So he's actually attacking for 5 in the air.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Double Hunt the Week, I think, was the 2 counters on that Spire Winder.
Yeah, the Spire Winder is doing a pretty good impression of a dragon at this point.
Yep, and remember, Nezahal triggers off of any non-creature spell, so Shenhar's going to draw a card with this Moment of Craving on the stack even. Yeah,
this is so brutal for Paulo. I mean, taking out that Hardy Veteran's not even amazing. And look at this. This is a bit of desperation here for Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa. So assume that Nezahal blocks the charging monster sword.
Well, there's a Windstrider that's also probably going to be flashed in here as well for Shenhar.
Okay. Well, let's see how that goes then. But let's just assume that the blocks that we think are going to happen. Then how does it look?
Shenhar would be taking at least 3 points of damage. Maybe, 4 even? Because he has a Dire Fleet Interloper with Menace, right?
Has he got the blocks already?
It certainly looks like it if he's doing the... he might be going through the motions first before playing the Windstrider, though.
Okay, or he has a trick.
Or he could have another trick, absolutely.
Because this is a desperation attack here for Paulo. Unless he has some way to back this up.
And on the surface, Shenhar would be taking, 6 damage right now?
That's why I'm curious if we're going to see
There we go. Okay, so he was just doing the math.
There it is. Eat that. Block that. Eat that.
And I think these are the pretty clear blocks here for Shenhar.
Yeah, this reduces the total damage down to 3. It also makes sure that he's clear of unfriendly fire.
Oh, he'll take 4 total.
Will he?
Yeah, 3 from the Interloper and 1 from the Dusk Legion Zealot.
Oh, you're right. So he is actually not clear of that at all. But unfortunately for Paulo, he has a different 5-drop as a follow-up. Canal Monitor.
Not even a dinosaur.
It's just a lost lizard. That's going to be really tough for Paulo to finish off Shenhar here.
Yeah, Shenhar has to be a little bit careful because he's so far ahead. He doesn't want to make too aggressive an attack unless he's going for the kill. If he does, Paulo might be able to draw a removal spell, and even though Shenhar would draw a card off of Nezahal, you know, a menace creature and one other point of damage would be good enough here.
Looks like Lance may be offering some observations here as well.
So this is really nice. Main phase Runaground not only deals with Paulo's only blocker, he knows that, you know, he'll be drawing that next turn, and Paulo's tapped out except for one Forsaken Sanctuary. Yes.
This is lethal. Yeah, 16 exactly. So that was the win right there for Shenhar. That is 1 game apiece for Damo, Rosa, and Shenhar. So both Shenhar and Oliver, too, have managed to pick up a win, but they're still 2 games behind as Eric Froehlich has won his match already against Lance Austin. That means that Ben Stark versus Oliver 2, this could be the decider.
Well, it looks like Oliver 2 is way ahead. He had a great curve for the Vampire deck where Ben kind of has a little stumbling start. He did have a baffling end for one of Oliver's creatures, but Knight of the Stampede, not great versus Menace or Death Touch.
There's land number 5, or I should say mana number 5 for Ben Stark. That's a critical part of his mana curve, but at 5 life, is it too late?
It might be too late here, Marshall.
I mean, what if he plays like 2 dinosaurs?
That's not even that great here. He'll have 3 blockers, but Oliver has at least 1 menace creature, a death touch creature as well. So, like, he won't be dead on board, of course, but if Oliver has just basically anything.
Well, look at this.
Okay, that's pretty darn good. 5 mana to cast 8 or 9 mana worth of spells.
Hey, this looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Sure, but let's see if Oliver has like a Pious Interdiction or a Luminous Bonds or even just like a Vampire Zeal or Moment of Triumph.
All of these things.
And you know what? Look how many spells he has in his hand.
Yeah, he's got 4 or 5 spells, so this is a close one for Ben Stark. He'd love to turn the corner, win this match, and put his team into the finals, but it may be up to Paulo. If Oliver, too, can just finish off this game, he's way ahead.
Okay, I see the City's Blessing. I see Golden Demise here for Oliver, which takes care of the 4-2.
Yeah.
Also, it makes, you know, the Knight of the Stampede a non-blocker effectively, as it can't eat any of Oliver's creatures.
So Oliver says, I think I got you.
I think it actually is 1 short.
2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah. Ben can't block the Menace creature, but he can eat one of the 2 power creatures, so the Bishop Soldier or the Emissary Sunrise, and then just jump in front and chump the other one. So not dead, but on the ropes for sure.
Yeah, it puts him in such a bad spot because his creatures are tiny.
Yep.
A 4-4 and an 0-2 are his blocks. Like you said, he can kill 1, but it's hard to imagine how he comes back from this, even after that sequence of surviving.
Squire's Devotion is the card that I think is the most likely to be able to get him out of it if he had it, right? Slap that on your Colossal Dreadmaw, gain 7. Yeah, gain 7 and have a 1/1 blocker.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing that he's going to need here. So he's going to go ahead and block and then throw the chump block in front of the Emissary. He's going to take down the Bishop Soldier, but he's at 1 life is Ben Stark. He's going to need something pretty miraculous, or else Oliver 2 is going to win his match. And it's going to be all down to Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa versus Shenhar. Let's see what happens.
So I think I see a Luminous Bonds in Ben's hand. So he might be able to like Luminous Bonds, Voracious Vampire, and then
play 2 things.
Yeah, it seems a little far-fetched, but okay.
Hardy Veteran.
Luminous Bonds.
But he's still dead on board. What's the card he can have
Slash
here?
of Talons.
Slash of Talons is the card that Oliver has to play around, or in this case, not play around if he wants to win.
I mean,
Ben is going to put him to the test. I don't think Oliver's going to bite, though. I think he's just going for it. He's all in.
Moment of Triumph would also gain 2 life, but
yeah, and that is not what Ben Stark has. So he's got to extend the hand. And oh boy, it all comes down to one single game: Shenhar versus Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa. Are these guys going to knock off the best team left standing in the room? Maybe the best team when they walked in the door.
Is down to the wire here. Did not imagine we'd be in this position given the first 2.
No, it looked like it might have been one of those quick kind of, good run, guys. Let the pros take over from here. But that is not the case. Oliver, Shenhar, and Lance have put up a mighty fight. And now we've got lands for each, though interestingly, Paulo, you know, at first glance you might think, oh no.
He's got the mountain and the plains.
Yeah, but he already cracked himself a Traveler's Amulet. So, you know, he did that on purpose. Nothing out of the first 2 turns for either player and turn 3 from Paulo. What in the world?
I mean, that's not too surprising
River
given
Darter here for
Shenhar's
Shenhar.
deck that we saw. You know.
Agreed. Yeah, he was light on 2s.
Right, but Paulo had a decent number of 2s to play.
Maybe he's taken a different stance post-sideboard here as maybe a little bit more controlling deck. We'll find out. He's got to cast something here, though.
I would hope so. 4 mana, 3 different colors.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one.
No, Vampire Revenant there.
Although that is a delicious target for a hunt the week.
Oh, and there it is from Shenhar. He says, yummy. And he's going to get in there for 3 damage with his River Darter.
Does he have Charging Monster Sword in his hand again?
Well, if he does, we're going to see it right now. Bang! Tapped and attacking. Take 5, Shenhar, you're at 15. This one's not going to be so easy. And Shahar's going to have to find an answer for River Darter, and he's going to need to do it sooner than later, or that Charging Monster Sword will decide who's going to make it into the final.
I think, is that Nezahal in his hand as well? He might have the Nezahal already.
No, it's gonna be a while before he casts out, right? What is he at, 5 lands?
He's at 5 right now, and not double blue.
Okay. Nezahal did a great job in the last game of keeping that Charging Monster Sword at bay. Could happen again.
I was hoping Shenhar there would jam his Regisaur Alpha and be like, I have Hasty Dinos too, you know?
Everybody gets one.
Everybody.
So what is Shenhar going to search up with the Forerunner of the Heralds here? Let's find out.
I can't recall too many great Merfolk from Shenhar. I mean, he can always opt to not get anything if he really wanted to.
Yeah, especially if he needs lands, like if he's out of lands.
But remember, every Merfolk that he has after is going to pump up the Forerunner of the Heralds, which gets a +1/+1 counter whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield within your control.
Who is Herald? What is he all about? We've never figured it out. Looks like Shahar's asking his teammates, hey, should I actually get this card? You know, whatever it is that he's considering.
Let's take a look at Shahar's deck list. What's he got running in there?
That's Paulo. There you go. Okay, well, he ended up getting the Pioneer.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's going to pump up the Forerunner twice, remember? That produces 2 Merfolk next turn.
Mm-hmm. So he's actually going to just try to get a blocker.
Potentially. Or he could try racing here, of course.
That's true, too. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, Paul's going to get in while the getting's good. He's going to knock Shenhar down to 10. It's next turn where things get interesting from Shahar's standpoint, especially if Paulo has an answer for the Forerunner.
Right.
You know, killing that actually makes a huge difference.
A Moment of Craving right now would be ideal.
Yeah, now, interestingly, though, I'm pretty sure Shenhar has a dive down in his hand.
1 blue open.
I thought he did, yeah. So if Paulo puts him on a dive down, he may take on a little bit of extra risk and say, on your upkeep, I want to do something.
Right. Make him tap out on his turn.
Right. It's interesting because dive down's one that doesn't actually make your creature better in the sense of attacking for more. So you're willing to take that part, but it does open you up to more combat tricks. You know, Crash the Ramparts or something like that would be kind of annoying.
Absolutely.
So Paulo's going through those motions, and I'll tell you what, you know, he's got Ben Stark and Eric Froehlich in his ear as well, you know, talking about all the permutations that they could go through here before deciding what to do. They know that this is not the time to get sloppy.
Charging Monster Sword lets you get a little bit sloppy sometimes, but
that is true.
Well, he's eyeing 2 mana here. Weighing the merits of doing something now. Yep, Moment of Craving, and wow.
Okay, it did work, so maybe no dive down then.
I think, yeah, if he had a dive down, he would have certainly used it there. That's basically saving a 5/4.
Yeah. Wow, so a big swing there.
That's huge.
In Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa's direction here.
Any follow-up play is just going to be a little bit back-breaking, I think. Okay, just past the turn, so maybe this is Shahar's opportunity. There's that Forerunner we saw, or rather the Jungleborn Pioneer. I think Paulo also had, what, a Reaver's Ambush as well as a Vanquish the Week that we saw him take? I don't know if it's in his hand, but we saw it in the previous drafting portion.
Yes, he does have those cards. The question is, does he have them available?
I have to imagine so, because I think I saw a Fathom Fleet border in his hand. So instead of developing at his 3/3, he's opted to hold up this 3 mana. Now, the interesting thing is, if he had the ambush, wouldn't he have done it main phase as well on the River Darter once you knew the Moment of Craving resolved?
The answer is no action to be taken.
Looks like everybody just passed the turn back. Ah, the Radiant Destiny.
Is he going to name dinosaurs?
I certainly hope he does.
That was the least likely name, but hey, he's all in on charging Monster Story. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, that would allow it to trade for the 3/4 and the 2/2.
And look at this. Shenhar feels like he has no options but to just triple block. It was Dinosaur that was named, of course, Kenji. So triple block. Now, what's going to happen now is Paulo is going to order these blockers. And there it is.
There's the Reaver's Ambush.
Reaver Ambush. Oh, and that resolves too. This one is falling apart on Shenhar very quickly. He's taking damage and losing his board.
Yeah, taking 1 trample damage.
And he has nothing to show for it, although still only creature on board for Paulo is that charging Monster Store.
Okay, Shenhar did hit that double blue, though, so Nezahal might be hitting the battlefield next turn.
And he's going to have one more chance to hit a land. It's got to be an untapped land. Though. He's down to 3. It's not going to take much. That is not going to do it unless it has a friend.
There's that Fathom Fleet border.
That basically seals it up. Even Nezahal does not stabilize this board. Is there anything? Oh, Shenhar hit it too. Yes, and there's nothing he can do. Damo Rosa just has to simply turn his creature sideways, and he will put his team into the finals. The handshake is there. Paulo Vitor, Damo Rosa, Eric Froehlich, and Ben Stark are your first finalists. Great work to the best team left.
Absolutely.
And they're going to shake hands. And still, great work, though, by Shenhar, by Oliver, and by Lance. Of course, that's qualification for the Pro Tour, especially for Lance. That's his first time playing in the Pro Tour. So congratulations to them. A great finish, to be sure. But the run stops here for them on Sunday Night Magic. That's going to do it for that semifinal. Now, what we're doing is we're going to get set up for you for the next semifinal match as well, which we have been recording. Again, if you're on social media and you follow Neil Oliver, Eric Severson, those guys, don't look, because I think it's still going, but you don't want to get it spoiled, as we don't know what happened yet, and we're going to be watching them from a recorded standpoint and then kind of moving our way up. So Rashad's getting that ready for us right now. Let's see. I don't need these deck lists anymore, do I?
Wow, way to rub it in.
Sorry. Bye-bye. That means, though, that Paulo, Eric, and Ben, they get to kind of hang out for a little bit. They're going to wait for the other match to finish, and then when they get done, they're going to get a chance to battle.
I think we might have Paulo.
Oh, all right. Why don't we have a quick chat here with Paulo Vitor, Damo Rosa. Paulo, Marshall Sutcliffe here with Kenji Higashira. How's it going, buddy?
Hello. It's going pretty good.
Man, nice work. You had to really pull that one out. Are you going to de-sleeve that charging Monster Store and put it in your wallet or what?
Frame it.
Oh, yeah, it was really good. I almost didn't splash for it.
You almost didn't splash for it?
It was worth it.
You took it in the draft thinking, well, I just don't want somebody else to have it?
Yeah, it was like, maybe I'll splash for this, but mainly I don't want anyone else to have it, which wouldn't have mattered because I don't think Lance was red at all, but he was green-white, so he wouldn't have played it. Maybe he would have splashed it, but...
Yeah, he was actually splashing red in his deck as well, so
I think
he would have played it. What about that Radiant Destiny? What did you think you were going to name Dinosaur with it?
Yeah, no, I didn't play it earlier on. I had it in my hand on turn 3, but I didn't play it because my deck has 8 vampires and 6 pirates. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just draw, more pirates, and I wanted 8 pirates. But in the end, I named Dinosaur to protect myself from Aggressive Urge, which I knew there were 2 off in his pool because we got to see pools. I didn't know if he was playing them or not, but I thought it was the card that would most likely beat me in that spot. So I had to play it on Dinosaur, even though I only have 1 other Dinosaur.
Can you give our viewers an idea for how much information you and your team have about the possibilities that are in the decks in the hands of your opponents?
So in Shenhar's case, because our drafts were filmed, we actually got to see the entire pool. Like we had a list with all the cards that each other had. Not they were playing in their deck, but they had access to. And for Ben and Ifro is just talking to your teammates. It's like, so what kind of things did you pass? And you're like, oh, well, I passed River Heroes Boom third. And then Ben is like, well, I do not see that. So Lance has to have it. And things like that. So we kind of construct, like kind of reverse engineer what decks they're playing.
Right.
And then we know, for example, we knew to play Plummet main deck for Ben. Because Ifro said, I passed a bunch of wide flyers. And I said, well, I didn't see any, so Oliver has all of them.
Yeah, so you knew that you'd find targets. I also heard Ben had a conversation with you guys about Settle the Wreckage, maybe Divine Verdict, as you kind of narrow down what his opponent could have.
Yeah, and then like if you just ask, oh, why did you pass me? Did you pass my opponent? If you pass a card like Settle the Wreckage, you'll remember it. And then
also, you might not want to admit that to your teammates, but
yeah. And then, for example, Ben asked me, did Oliver first pick a rare in his first pack?
Right.
And I said, no, he passed me a rare in the pack. So that narrows down the possibility, like the cards that he can have. So maybe if there's a rare that you want to play around, well, suddenly you don't have to because, Oliver does not have a rare from this set and that we haven't seen in his deck.
Now, does that just come to your head naturally? Like, do you... I mean, because I think a lot of people would go, well, how would you remember what was passed to you? That was, an hour ago. Does it just register in your head naturally now, or do you have to consciously, remember each of those things?
A little bit. I think it's easier for them than for me. They're more used to team draft. What I remember is the kind of information that you remember in regular draft. Like, for example, I see an opening pack and I think, well, this is probably the next best card, so they're going to be in this color, and then there are 9 good cards, so one of them is going to wheel. This is the kind of stuff that I remember.
Okay.
But this draft, I was so focused on chastising myself for what I thought were pretty bad picks that I was like, oh my god, this is on camera, everyone's looking, everyone saw me pick that card. And then I didn't, and then they were like, so Paula, why'd you pass him? I was like, I had no idea.
That's great. Thanks for the honesty, Paula. Hey, great job winning that match for your team and putting them into the finals. And good luck in the finals when you get there too.
Thank you.
Yep. I love it. He's very honest, right? He lets us know that stuff. I'm ready to watch the semis.
Sure.
Do we get to do that now? Okay. Okay, I guess we got a commercial. So we're going to be back in just a few minutes, but when we come back, we're going to watch the second semifinal here from Sunday Night Magic. Don't go anywhere. Hello there, and welcome back to coverage here at Grand Prix Indianapolis. That's Kenji Gashara and Marshall Sutcliffe. It is Sunday Night Magic. We are one semifinal down, and the big boys went right on through to the final.
As expected.
But we do have one more semifinal to bring you now. We have recorded this just as it happened. I mean, it is just, it might even still be going. I can't see over there, but we're watching it now. Don't get on Twitter if you want to know who it is. Let's head down, though, for semifinal number 2 here for Sunday Night Magic. All right, Eric Severson, Ben Whites, and Neil Oliver playing against Yin Yu Fei. That is Peter Ye in the middle. He goes by Peter.
Peter, yep.
Yep, and Ziru Zhu. You mentioned Peter, we covered...
Yeah, at the Mox.
At the Mox, like the Mox.
Yep, Magic Online Championship Series.
Right, like the one that you won an invitation to.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed. Yeah. High five. Give me that.
I can't wait to
Feels
get
good.
you in the feature match at the Pro Tour, Kenji, and ruthlessly shame you. Yeah, it's going to be great. Ooh, I wouldn't have played that. That's what I'm going to say. In the meantime, zeros across the board. We're just underway here for Neil Oliver. He's got Water Trap Weaver and a Cherished Hatchling.
Yeah, that card has also underperformed a lot since when the set first came out, I think. A lot of people were thinking, well, we'll make a trade or something and then I'll get to ambush one of the other dudes. But often enough, it's just a 2-1 that trades for a 2-power creature or something like that.
It's kind of a Christmas land scenario.
Right, exactly.
It's like never actually happens. All right, so Weaver and Hatchling are going to get into the red zone. There's no blockers currently for Zhu.
Yeah, and he doesn't have double green open, so no Swift Warden nonsense there.
Yeah, great read. That is an uncommon from the set that you do have to consider. And unfortunately for Neil, he doesn't have a whole lot of... Wow, he got a Hornswoggled, but he does have another land to go and another 3-drop. Oh, nice play from Neil Oliver. He actually ends up resolving potentially a more powerful option.
Yeah, definitely. I think Jungleborn Pioneer is one of the better commons in the set, honestly. It's just, it does so much work because you get 2 different bodies. It's Merfolk Tribal. If you have any Lord or anything like that, then you get like 5 power with the creatures for 3 mana.
That's right, and you know, that token has hexproof, so it's a good place to dump counters or enchantments. Man, Hornswoggled.
Looks like we have pretty classic Merfolk Mirror here. Jade Bear. A 3-2 is not big enough quite yet. Zhao's going to need another counter to make that Shaper Apprentice worth anything more than a trade here.
And he's too far behind to try to race, huh?
Exactly, yeah. Shaper Apprentice did have flying, notably.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if he maybe wanted to think about getting in the red zone, but you can certainly see the downside to that. If the life totals are 20 to 14, that is a tough sell. Yeah, and this is where things get a little sketchy here for Neil Oliver. He's got a Strider Harness.
I don't actually mind that card.
Yeah, you like every card, though.
No, that's not true. I don't care for Herald of Broken Streams.
You like every card on the battlefield.
That's a lie.
I don't like Jade Bear. I find it pretty mediocre.
Again, 1-1s are completely fine in this format. I mean, you even see Neil has a few 1-1s or X1s himself at the very least, but...
if you say so. So, the precious Cherished Hatchling is going to pick up that Strider Harness.
Yeah, it means
and bang, 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 everybody in the red zone.
Jade Bear can't just block and trade.
All right, but it looks like Zhu has a little bit more to do with this mana this turn than just has.
Sure. And using the Aggressive Urge to trade for a creature seems great.
It is, yeah. That's probably one of the better case scenarios for him at this point, as it's going to get him a card as well, make sure those land drops keep flowing, as he finds himself significantly behind in this game, and he needs to do some work to get back. Well, he is attacking now.
Probably a Deadeye Rigger then. Rig Hauler, rather.
There you go, Deadeye Rig Hauler, and that is going to set back a decent amount of tempo there. 2-drop plus the equip cost.
Yeah, awkward that none of the bounce targets were all that great, honestly.
No.
Like bouncing a 2-drop when your opponent has Strider Harness is medium. Jungleborn Pioneer, well, you probably don't want to bounce that, and Hexproof, you just can't.
That's right.
So what he could have done is maybe bounced his own Jade Bear? I think that might have been a different consideration, but...
Ooh, there's Herald.
Herald of Secret Streams.
We were just talking about you, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's going to pick up that Strider Harness, which is going to give him haste as well. And if there's a double block, he could do it.
I think
he would lose both creatures.
I think he probably wants to, just because the potential that the Herald has.
I agree. but he is going to start falling pretty far behind if he's just going to straight trade, 2 blockers for 1 card here.
I mean, it bounced the Cherished Hatchling, the Deadeye Rig Hauler did, and, it didn't come back down this turn. So I think a double block's good. Unless he actually thinks he can race this position. Maybe he has more bounce spells in hand, but this makes sense.
Yeah, and it looks like Neil didn't have any +1/+1 counter things going on. Yeah, it's 3/4, so that's going to die too. So he didn't mind trading off Herald of the Secret Streams.
All right, there's the double green there.
Crested Herd Collar, anybody?
That would be very good on this battlefield.
Card's been great.
Tempest Caller.
Well, that is not going to do much. Basically just 2/3. And remember, at the very least, Neil can recast the
Cherished
Hatchling.
Yeah, I don't like that attack with the Shaper. You're so far behind, and remember, if Neil just equips the Strider Harness onto the Jungleborn Pioneer, he gets to get in for 3 anyways.
That is true, which is exactly what he's going to do.
Maybe this is his only out, though.
And there's Cherished Hatchling. Let's see if we move the Strider Harness. He's just seeing, does it do any difference here? It does. It lets him trade the Hatchling for the Collar if he wished to, but I think he just doesn't plan on doing that. So
yeah, he has multiple reasons to leave it on the Jungleborn Pioneer. One is that he has, I think, Snapping Sailback in his hand, so if he doesn't draw a land for the turn, he wouldn't be able to re-equip the Strider Harness and play the Snapping Sailback.
Exactly what he has. Yep, that is correct. So mana efficiency there, making sure that Neil can use up all of his mana. Now he's going to try to figure out what to do, because this time Zhu did not attack.
Cherished Hatchling pretty good with Snapping Sailback. I mean, get to eat something, fight, and Rage Trigger a little bit bigger. Well, it looks like Neil's just going to press the advantage here. Now, it's possible Neil drew a land for the turn, in which case, a trade-off here is great for him. And it makes sense to trade off the Tempest Caller as opposed to the Shaper, because the Shaper with 3 power can still trade away with the Jungleborn. But yeah, there's that important land, and oddly, we're going to see Neil flash in the Snapping Sailback on his own turn because of the Cherished Hatchling. Gets to eat the Shaper now.
So he gets the fight out of it.
Yep.
Even though he doesn't get the flash out of it.
Yeah.
Wait, he chose to use the flash given by the Hatchling. We saw it. It actually happened on camera. We're counting that. Cherished Hatchling, the real deal. Criminally underrated. And that is Neil Oliver picking up game number 1 thanks to Cherished Hatchling. Eric Severson and Jin Yufei are in the middle of their game number 1. Well, I see 3 Legion Conquistador there, Kenji, on one side of the table, as well as the City's Blessing with a Dusk Charger. And there's also a Dinosaur Hunter. On the other side, though, Eric is going for Hunt the Week. He's going to kill the Dinosaur Hunter. And, well, it's because he's got 2 dinosaurs on the battlefield. A Thrash of Raptors. Haven't seen that guy in a while. I kind of miss him, not going to lie.
Yeah, good play. Dinosaur Hunter would have just straight up traded for either of Eric's larger creatures. But still no good attacks because of that Dusk Charger. Like, if he attacked with the Thrash of Raptors, Faye could just throw any number of Legion Conquistadors in front of it. So a bit of a standoff here. Both players had a really healthy life total as well. And it's actually weird. Generally, the dinosaur deck is better in this type of situation because their creatures are just larger, but because of that Dusk Charger, if Faye has any of the unblockable, say, flyers, then he gets to start beating in.
Big turn here for Jin Yufei. If he can start clearing away some of these blockers, he may be able to get in for a bunch of damage, but right now, a lot of work to do. Both players very high life total, and it looks like it's just going to be a Paladin of the Bloodstained here.
Yeah, I don't think he minds just building out his board. I mean, he's not in a rush. He's still at 20. Severson, I mean, fine attacks, as he'll trade with something at the very least, but that's not even that tempting, right?
No, he also may have any number of combat tricks or removal spells that he'd like to preserve. But it does look like he's out of gas for the time being. Faye's got, I think, 3 cards in hand.
Oh.
What are you seeing, Kenji?
I see Eric has one of the primal dinosaurs in
One
his
of the
deck.
elder dinos?
One of the elders.
Which one?
One that's larger than the rest.
One that's larger than the rest. Is it a 12-12?
It might be a 12-12.
Does it have trample?
It might also have trample.
I like the sound of that. I don't know what card it is, but it sounds cool.
Sounded like you knew.
Yeah, I was onto it for a while, but I lost the track. Well, he didn't draw it here. Galta would be great, and you can usually kind of just rumble in with Galta and say you figure out the damage. But
Right.
instead, Hardy Veteran is the draw. Not nearly as exciting.
Let's see what Faye is running with here. He has a Twilight Prophet.
Oh, wow, that would be a sick draw.
That
Wow,
would
so
be
these guys both
very
have
good.
very
Yeah.
live bombs to draw. I love me a Twilight Prophet.
Oh, for a minute, I thought Faye only had 3 Legion Conquistadors, but he has 3 from Rivals and 1 from regular Ixalan.
4, huh? You can see Faye's taking some notes there.
Yeah, this is just a classic board stall, which surprisingly you don't see very often in this format, but when this does happen, obviously it's just whoever can find their better cards in a more timely fashion. That or whoever bites first.
Yeah, Faye is 22 years old from China. I think he lives in Cleveland right now, though.
Okay, Needletooth Raptor. That can potentially take care of the Dusk Charger and allow for Eric to get some better attacks in, as then any of his 4-power creatures would at least trade for 2 of Faye's. So it's definitely a start.
Man, those Legion Conquistadors doing good work, though, just super gumming up the ground. Just making life difficult for Eric, even though he's got some pretty big creatures. Well, there goes that start again. What did he use to kill it?
I think that might have been Impale, yeah.
Looks like it.
And you can just see how important that Dusk Charger is, using an Impale on that 2/2.
Previous Magic accomplishments for Jin Yufei are 65th at GP Indy last year.
Oh, well, this is quite a improvement.
He's also won a PTQ in Beijing.
I imagine.
Oh! Hello!
What happened?
Twilight Prophet.
Oh!
Kabang!
I think he has the city's blessing. I could be wrong on that math, though.
You are not wrong. He might have 2 cities blessing.
Okay, but with Commune here, we might find a Galta. I don't think so. Looks like a Trailblazer. And was that another Hardy Veteran? Commune with dinosaurs. Oh, he can't even take any of those non-dino creatures, can he? Well, land it is. That does dig him deeper to that Galta, though.
It does, although he would have liked to just found it.
Right. Well, I mean... Oh, mutiny here! Dusk Charger killing the Prophet, potentially.
Oh, there goes the Prophet.
Okay, and
I love that card.
that was going to take over the game. So
Yes.
now we're back at this position where it's going to be on Eric to find his Galta.
I mean, this game was effectively over if
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to untap with that thing. Draws extra cards. You called it the reverse Bob.
Right.
But I did the math, and Bob is the same in reverse. Anyway, that would have completely dominated,
Yeah.
especially with Eric sitting here with virtually no action.
Yeah, again. Oh, there. I think we saw her.
Oh, and it's Galta off
Okay.
the top for Eric Severson.
Now remember, Faye used his Impale already.
Oh.
I'm not sure how much other removal he has, but that's going to necessitate a removal spell or a very large number of chump blocks. Okay, Dino Hunter actually is very good at here.
Hunter. Oh, Jin Yufei has the answer right back again, though. Still, Galta could do some damage, though. He's not going to want to attack with Jin Yufei at 20 life just to trade it for a 2-drop, even if he gets in for a full 10 damage.
I mean, he only used 2 mana. Was that
Fire Cannon Blast. I think he just found it off the top.
Okay. There it goes.
Fire cannon blast, kaboom, send the dinosaur hunter packing, and bang, in comes Galta, 12-12 trample. And here we go, Jin. You're going to have to line up a lot of blockers.
You have to block this. You have to go for a trade of some variety, even if it means you're losing 4 or 5 creatures here, as every turn that Galta stays on the battlefield, your chances of winning just drop astronomically.
So he actually lined up everything except for the charger, which is 12, but it's exactly 12. And just like if anything goes wrong, he just loses his whole board outside of the charger.
But at this point, you have to imagine that Eric probably doesn't have any more removal spells. He might have combat tricks, but removal spells unlikely. And if you're Faye, you just have to offer some kind of trade here.
I think, Kenji, you would just stack up every creature you had and just say, block.
The problem with that is that losing the Dusk Charger means that every one of Eric's other creatures can start getting in.
Well, maybe. I mean, remember, the Dust Charger soaks up 5 of that damage, which would save maybe 2 of the other creatures.
But the problem is, you know, if you do block with the Charger and you're left with, say, 2 2/2s, well, that doesn't block a 5/3 very well.
Oh, that's very true. That's
Or
exactly 12, and he says, okay. Now, I think he's going to take 1 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess he takes
1 effectively
1,
because of the lifelink.
Yeah.
And Faye's going to also get a treasure.
But he is going to take the, what, 6 for 1?
I mean, you have to do what you have to do.
Oh, my God.
And it's not technically a 6 for 1. Remember, the Conquistadors found themselves, right?
Fair enough.
Basically drew more cards. Oh, another Dust Charger! That's perfect!
Wow! Board stable. So let's see. It's back on Eric Severson. So we were mentioning the big bombs, the haymakers that they had available. Yep. They both just traded them.
Yep.
And this is a good attack here with Thrash of Raptors. This is offering a trade for one of the Dust Chargers. And Jinyu Fei, he could take it, but he's going to have to deal with this Thrash, so he may as well do it now.
I think a double block makes sense here, because then you don't get blown out by like a Sure Strike or something like that. Okay, but he just single blocked.
I think he probably said, look, if you had the Sure Strike,
you would have used the previous turn, and you just drew the Bonded, or the rather the Stampeding Horncrest.
Still, yeah. I kind of like the double block, but...
I mean, if Eric had not played his 4/4 prior to combat, then yeah, sure.
Yep.
You make that block, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay, Paralands in hand for Severson. No good attacks with Jinyu Fei at 19.
Yeah.
And back to you. So who can find a powerful spell to take over this game first?
There aren't too many powerful spells left in each other's deck, but a flyer will do something.
Hey. Oh, boy. Commune with Dinosaurs for Eric. That could find him something big.
Well,
he found him a bunch of jank.
No, I saw that Overgrown Armasaur. That is a 4/4, right?
It's not very good against a 5/5. Although,
no, but
interestingly, you know what he did draw? Fathom Fleet Firebrand, which he would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, he would have.
I mean, he could pump that thing enough to kill the Dust Charger.
I can see Faye here counting the number of cards left in deck.
Yeah, but those are going to go on the bottom, right?
Right. He was just seeing how many turns, you know, if both players exhaust their resources.
Right. So anyway, the best card he could take there with the Commune was that Overgrown Armasaur, which is just a little short from being able to tussle, though, with the Dust Charger. Still, he's got a powerful board.
Sure, and he's almost at the point where he can start chump attacking just to get in some extra points of damage, especially since Faye basically only has the 5/5, the 2/3, not doing too much on this board.
Yeah, Eric has 17 power on the board. Oops. Oh, well, this is on Time Walk.
Looks like we swapped matches down to the middle seat.
Oh, I see what happened. They must have switched it over because this is a potential match-deciding game here.
Ah.
Which is a little disappointing because we were so emotionally invested in Eric Severson versus Jinyu Fei. But I'll tell you what, if this one ends in Peter Ye's favor, we wouldn't have got to watch the end of it. It just would have fallen flat on the floor anyway. So this really is where we should be here, as Peter Ye, if he wins this, puts his team into the finals.
Yeah.
And also, of note, stops that other one. Yeah, apologize, but this is sort of the nature of team magic, is that we really got to kind of follow the story, because if the match ends, you don't get to watch the end of the other one anyway. By the way, this is a thumping here. Look at that. 3-1 as we come in.
Yep.
And if this happens to be the game that goes to Peter Ye, then the thing's just over.
Exactly. And it looks like the board has reached parity for now. Ben does have that Pirate's Cutlass, which is allowing him to do some work. But, if Peter Ye just gets anything going here, even that Sun-Crested Pterodon, that is going to be good enough.
Absolutely. That thing is a 3-turn clock in the air and a pretty big problem.
Well, there's a Vanquish the week in Ben White's hand, so that's a pretty good answer. But the problem is, it's not an Exile. It's not Reaver Ambush. So that means
the Atsakan Seer can get
exactly. Atsakan Seer can bring back the 2/5 flying Vigilance and just put Ben on that clock again.
I wonder if he has anything else in his yard, because another interesting play here for Ben is he also has Walk the Plank.
Okay.
And if he could kill the Seer first, if there's no targets, he could actually deal with the Sun-Crested Pterodon permanently. But the problem is if there's something good to get back, that has attacks or trades or something on the ground even, then that line of play doesn't really work out for Ben.
And it looks like Ben has a lot of permanence on the board, but he only has 2 creatures right now, the Dinosaur Hunter and currently the 5/4 Fathom Fleet Border, since it has the Cutlass on it.
Yeah, you're right. That could be pretty precarious as well. Seeing a Danto Vanguard at the bottom part of the screen there for Peter Ye, and that's the kind of thing that can get unleashed if he can just get that border out of the way for a turn or kill it.
I like the attack from Ben. Peter's going to have to respect this.
He really is, right? There's too many combat tricks or ways to lose a life.
Or Burn Spell, yeah.
Yeah, Burn Spell, lose a life, Sky March. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kills you here.
Fanatical Firebrand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. So this is a 5/4. I mean, Peter does have some okay blocks. I think Ben is trying to prompt a block from maybe the
Seer.
The Seer and one other creature.
Yeah, because if he can kill it, then he gets to maintain one of his removal spells in hand, which is a great.
Well, not only that, he might be able to use the removal spell, Vanquish the Weak as a 2-for-1.
Oh, good point. And then use the other one on the Pterodon.
Right, exactly.
Ooh, this is a huge turning point here, depending on how Peter decides to navigate this. Also, I still can't quite see his graveyard enough to know.
I like this block from Peter.
Wow, that's a big block. So what do you like about this?
It prevents the most potential blowouts, right? Because even if a single targeted removal spell is used, you still have enough damage to kill the Fathom Fleet Border.
Okay, and he figures that his board is good enough even if he doesn't have the Sun-Crested Pterodon, because this does risk that card.
Yep.
Really cool block here from Peter Ye, and not the most obvious one. And look at that. He got him to do it.
Yep.
Now he gets to kill the Pterodon.
Well, another thing here is that, Peter didn't have any other dinosaurs, so the Pterodon didn't have Vigilance to begin with, but we'll see the Walk the Plank take that out.
I'm a little surprised to see him use Walk the Plank there. It was the safer one to use because no matter what, it was going to kill the Pterodon. But what happens if Peter just plays a Colossal Dreadmaw or something now? He doesn't have an answer for it.
I think he's valuing the instant speed blowout potential.
Okay.
Over, the sorcery speed deal with effectively anything that Ye could have here.
Okay.
I do think that was an interesting use of removal, though. I think Vanquish was something that it immediately comes to mind when you think of what spell you want to use.
Yeah, because the thing you're thinking about if you're in Ben's seat, among other things, is what else? I got to be able to deal with everything here. And look at this, Peter just going to jam.
And now the Vanquish of the Week is going to pay dividends.
It really will. So Ben White's with a good read on what Peter had in mind, and maybe just thinking one step ahead about what this next combat would look like, and wanting to have the instant speed removal. Very impressive stuff here from Ben. And like you said, it is going to pay dividends. Assuming that there's no pump spell. Oh,
all right, moment of triumph.
It is. And he's going to play it on a creature that he can make indestructible. So that was a lethal attack, and this has been stopping lethality.
Aggressive urge for the last point of damage,
That
Marshall.
is enough to kill Ben White.
Wow, well played by Peter.
3 + 2 + 1 = 6.
Holy moly.
And that puts Peter Ye and company into the finals. Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking he can't just have the moment of triumph because it's so risky to play into a single removal spell, but it makes sense. Not only could he give that creature indestructible, so it's pretty safe to pump it the first time, but then he had the follow-up as well.
Wow, fantastic win there for that team. And, this is one of the least experienced teams left you can see our bracket here.
Right.
I mean, I can tell you that Jin Yu Fei is 22 years old. Peter is 26. He's the elder statesman of this of this team, because Zhu